This is Lenny Farlee, Purdue Extension Forester, and this is a Woodland Management Moment. In this Woodland Management Moment, we're going to talk about some considerations for growing high timber quality black walnut on purpose. And so thinking about some of the management strategies you can use to gradually develop really high quality black walnut stems for timber markets. And quality is incredibly important for the value of most of our hardwood trees that go into higher end products like grade lumber and veneer. And black walnut is certainly one of those species. So black walnut requires pretty much full sunlight to grow well. And if it's given lots of space, it has a tendency to shoot out limbs all along the side and create kind of a lollipop top. And so not a lot of stem length and a lot of limbs, which eventually become knots, which are a defect in lumber. And so one of our goals is to produce enough competition around the black walnuts to force them to grow straight, grow tall, and minimize the number of limbs on the sides of the tree. And we really concentrate on doing this early on in the development of the trees when we first create an opening through a harvest or through using forest stand improvement. And so we've got some black walnuts in this opening that have been direct seeded and seedling planted in, along with the tulip tree, which is a volunteer from residual tulip trees in the area before the harvest. And I've intentionally come in and cut some of the tulip tree back a little bit to maintain sunlight to the tops of these black walnut. But I've wanted to maintain enough tulip tree around the black walnut to prevent it from becoming very limby and to force it to grow straight and tall to get to sunlight. And so this is kind of a gradual process of making sure I've got enough density in the stand to prevent the walnut from becoming limby, but not to allow the competing trees to get completely over the top of the black walnut. And so here's an example of a black walnut in the middle of a group of really vigorously growing tulip tree. And so I'm going to have to do a little bit of work in here to make sure that walnut stays in the sunlight. So I'm going to cut the tops of those back a little bit to make sure it's got some space to continue to grow, but still has some shading on the side. We've got some smaller black walnut here, kind of the edge of this opening, that's competing pretty well with the tulip tree. And so we'll see how it develops. I'll keep an eye on it. If the heights pretty much stay the same, we should be in pretty good shape. And we've got a black walnut here more toward the center of the opening that's actually exceeding the height of the tulip tree. And so that tree is really in the clear and doing well, but the tulip tree should continue to provide it with some forming and some natural pruning. And so with time, you do need to watch these trees to make sure they've got adequate space to continue to grow. And that's mostly keeping that top open for sunlight to get to it, but maintaining some shading on the sides.